So you're planning out your fall renovation, you're doing some seeding and overseeding, some aeration and overseeding, and you've been thinking about what kind of grass seed should you get, whether it's tall fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, perennial ryegrass, and you just don't know. Should you buy some of these elite varieties of grass seed, or should you just grab something off of the shelf at the store? Well, I kind of want to give you my opinions on some things today that might help you make a buying decision, and we're going to talk about those, so check it out. So you're going to hear the term elite grass seed or elite Kentucky bluegrass or elite perennial ryegrass or whatever. They're talking about the cultivars of grass seed. If you're not aware, there's a thing called the National Turfgrass Evaluation Program. Long story short, basically what they do is they take hundreds and hundreds of different varieties of grass seed, plant them in different regions of the country, from the north to the south, and they evaluate them for how they perform, how well they resist disease, how well they resist drought, heat stress, their color, all of these different categories that they look at in these different varieties of grass seed. The elite varieties of grass seed are the ones that perform at the top of that range. So does it matter? Well, yes, it absolutely does. Some of the cheap grass seed that you can buy off the store shelves, honestly, a lot of it is filled with annual grasses. And you don't want an annual grass. An annual grass is a quick fix. You throw it on the ground, it pops up, it fills in, looks okay for a year, and then it dies off. And the next year you're looking at your lawn going, what happened? So you don't want anything that's got any annual grasses in it if you're buying it like a high traffic mixture, for example. But let's take a closer look at these, and I'll explain to you why an elite variety of grass seed is important. And I'll show you, even though they're elite, they're still not all the same. So just over my shoulder here, I've got 13 different kinds of grass seed that are planted here. Some of them are monostands, some of them are blends of different grass seeds. But for the most part, this row right here, these are tall fescues or turf type tall fescues, with the exception of this one. This is the GCI Turf Cool Blue. So that does have a little bit of bluegrass mixed into it. I believe it's like 10%. This second row over right here, this is going to be our perennial ryegrass row. So then this third row over, these are our Kentucky bluegrasses. So those are all elite varieties of grass seed. But this far left row is my big box store off the shelf grass seed. This one right here is a Scott's Kentucky bluegrass mix, which it does say on the bag of this grass seed that it does contain elite varieties of grass seed. And then in the back right here, the one that's dead, high traffic mixture from Ace Hardware, and it did not survive. All these grass seeds have been treated virtually the same. They're all watered the same every time I come out and water. They're all watered the same amount. They're all cut the same days. They're all on the same fertilizer plan now. The only difference is when I started the two big box stores, I just used a Scott starter fertilizer with that, and the rest of them got the Next DIY grass or seeding and overseeding pack. So as you can see, they're all pretty close to the same in color, but some of them have some brown in them. So all this brown you're seeing in here and a little bit over here, that's all done by me. I induced some tremendous stress on these just to kind of see what would happen. So what I did was I let them all grow really, really tall. I didn't mow them or trim them for about 3 weeks. And I mean, they were tall. So I cut these all very short. And what I was trying to simulate was someone who they let their lawn get away from them. They didn't mow, maybe it started raining the next week really bad. And so now you're 2.5 weeks in before you get a chance to mow. And you don't account for that. And they go out and they cut it back down to the same, 1.5 inches or whatever that they were used to mowing at. And oops, you killed off some of your grass. So most of these elite varieties of grass seed survived that very well, with exception to 2 of them did pretty bad. However, one has recovered significantly. So I'll point these out to you, and I'm sure you can see the one that's sticking out like a sore thumb. So this is the Stellar 3GL perennial ryegrass, very popular, very common perennial ryegrass. Looks absolutely beautiful when it's healthy. just like these other two right here. Very good in color, but it didn't handle that stress. And I failed to mention, the day that I did this, it was about 100 degrees. So it got the heat, it got the scalp right in the middle of summer, and it said, nope, I can't handle that. I'm going dormant. And it's starting to come back. You know, I started watering it pretty good after a couple of days, and all this grass is still rooted in here very well. So it's not an issue where the roots have completely died off, and that's not going to come back. So this will come back green. It's just waiting for its time. It's saying no right now. Also, this tall fescue right here, you can see it's pretty brown on the side right here. This one looked identical to this. It completely checked out, went very, very brown. And actually, I'll bring you in close and let you look down from the top. You can see a little bit better. So this is Regenerate Tall Fescue, and this did the same thing that the Perennial Ryegrass did. It went completely brown, and then as I've been watering, continuing to water it, it's coming back to looking like a normal stand of grass from a distance. Now, if you get up close, you can see all the brown down in here still, but this is Regenerate Tall Fescue, and it's holding true to its name. So now if you look at all four of these bags of Kentucky Bluegrass, I don't think just looking at them based on color that you would be able to tell me that this is Scott's Kentucky Bluegrass and this is Everest Kentucky Bluegrass. And Everest is supposed to be an incredibly dark variety of Kentucky Bluegrass. However, if I turn this around, you can see that this Scott's isn't quite spreading as quickly as this Everest has. This Everest has filled in this whole bag. At one point there was about, you know, an inch or so gap of dirt around the edges on these. And this Everest has filled that in completely all the way around, whereas the Scott's is still a little bit thin on the sides. There's still a, you know, inch there and about 2-inch gap there that it's working on filling in. The rest of it here in the middle is incredibly dense, thick turf with all of these Kentucky Bluegrasses. This stuff is thick. Now, if we're talking color, if I put some iron on these, yeah, this is gonna look a lot darker than this Scott's is. So I guess to go back and answer our original question, is elite varieties of grass seed important? Yes. Are they all created equally? No. Some of them don't survive different stresses as well as others. Some of them aren't gonna survive diseases like brown patch or dollar spot or summer patch as well as others are. As far as color goes, they are all so close in color that it really doesn't matter. Can some of them be pushed to a darker color than others if you're applying, you know, your micros and iron and stuff like that to them? Yes, this Everest right here will outshine these other ones as far as dark color. There's a little bit of a difference. And I'll put a picture up of all of these just about a month and a half ago, when I did my last treatment of fertilizer, which they're in desperate need for more right now. So in this picture, this is about a week after all of these grasses were sprayed with some iron, and 3 or 4 days before the iron went on these, they all had a full application of biostimulants, some RGS, some humic acid. They had a little bit of green punch, aerate, and some dethatch from the Next DIY line. So as you can see in this picture, yeah, you can tell a little bit of difference in color in the tall fescues, in the Kentucky Bluegrasses, but the perennial ryegrasses, in my opinion, all 3 of these elite varieties were about the same color. Now with these Kentucky Bluegrasses, I'm not fully going to judge them on their color just yet. Technically, I planted all of these last fall, and I grew them in my garage over the course of the winter and kind of gave up on them for a little while, and then have tried to bring them back this spring, summer, and now moving into fall. The thing about Kentucky Bluegrass that a lot of people will tell you is it doesn't come into full color, maturity, all of that until at least the 2nd year. So I would say it's at the 1-year mark right now. So next year is when I will judge these based on their color. And I'm gonna keep these all going until at least next year, until at least next fall, to see how they continue to perform, what their green up is gonna be like. They're all staying outside. They're not going back in my garage, but they'll go dormant this winter. We'll see how quickly they green up next spring. and then what the final look and texture and feel and color and all that stuff is going to be by the end of next year, because I got to give these Kentucky bluegrasses a fighting chance against my perennial ryegrasses. Without a doubt, these perennial ryegrasses are the darkest green color. They look fire. Once they got dark, I mean, they just don't let go of their color as quickly as the Kentucky bluegrass or the tall fescue is. These have all been treated identical, and these perennial ryegrasses are way darker than everything else right now as far as color goes. I guess to recap on this, if you want something that's going to look like this Ace High Traffic in a year or two, when it's been treated identical to all these other beautiful grasses, and I'll be willing to bet you this stellar continues to recover and comes back green here within another month or so. If it doesn't, if that dies off, I'll let you guys know that it died off. However, with everybody's renovation plans that are coming right up very soon, and you're trying to figure out what kind of grass seed that you want to go with, I would recommend that you spend some time evaluating their performance for your region. So we all want a beautiful dark green grass, and I agree. It's easy to get fixated on color as your priority. However, I will tell you this, and this is something I've learned managing these. Before color, watering, mowing, fertilizing, your soil pH, all of those things, along with the problems you face in your area of heat, drought. Obviously drought goes along with watering, but disease issues, if your area is susceptible to dollar spot or brown patch or powdery mildew or something like that, all of those things are going to affect your grass well before color even comes into play. If your grass isn't healthy and thriving, it's not going to be able to push the color that it should be able to. So I want you to pick a grass seed that's going to thrive in your region. And I'm going to link the INTEP test down below, and you can get on there and pick the closest area to you that has similar climate to what you have, and look at your favorite grass seeds and pick the one that will be the healthiest. And I promise you that will also make it the darkest green. As always, guys, I appreciate you for watching. Get outside and get your lawn to the next level. Bye.